Welcome in, everyone. Tuesday night, the Bama Standard is live and on the air. Go ahead and do a few things for us. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, live chat. Let's get rowdy tonight. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section below. Let us know how you feel about what we got to say to you, and also let us know how you felt about this past weekend's game. You're going to get an earful about it when we first kick things off. But I'm your host, Justin Riley, and with me, as always, 1999 All-SEC linebacker Marvin Constant.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Marvin. And then we got one of the best-known guys to ever grace the strip. He's never short of anything to say. Daniel Pettey, welcome in, sir, after we survived South Carolina.
Good evening. Glad to be here. Glad to be here with the man next to me, too.
Oh, absolutely. And folks, as you come in, we got a great guest tonight. He's been with us several times, but every time it gets better and better. He is one of the baddest dudes to ever play defensive line, not only in Alabama, but he's an all-SEC performer, two-time national champion, and Super Bowl champion. Welcome back, everyone. Jesse Williams, what's going on, brother?
What's going on? Appreciate you guys having me all the way from Australia.
Man.
You know, Jesse, I gotta admit, you're from Australia, but I didn't expect that Mississippi mullet.
This is Australian. This is Australian. Mississippi copied us.
No,
hey,
that
you know
is
what's funny?
out of the state of Mississippi.
You know what I tell people? A lot of young kids. This is a pretty popular haircut in Australia. If you go back and find my interview photos from when I was at Alabama playing, I had this exact thing. I got little bits of blonde in my hair. I had the same thing back then. So I've been rocking it for a long time. I'm bringing it back.
Well, you know what they say, business in the front, party in the back.
That's what you don't understand, Marvin.
Yeah, you telling me.
Even over in Australia, when you Google world's sexiest man, a Mississippi man with a mullet pops up. This is what it is.
Yeah, so it's either him or me usually popping up.
So he set the standard on the field and in hair. I love it. What have you not done, Jesse?
I'm still working it out.
I got you. Well, listen, we had a game this past weekend. You already heard what Pettey and I had to say about it on the post-game show. To wrap it up the right way, I'm going to let Marvin Constant and Jesse Williams give their takeaways from this past game. Start us out, Marvin. What did you see? What did you gather from it? And then we'll go to Jesse to learn exactly what the Tide did and maybe some things we might need to work on. Go ahead, Marvin.
I saw a clinic in how to piss a damn game away. I saw an exhibition of how do we go out here and take 5 steps back. I saw a team go out there and say, you know what? Damn all the progress we've made to this point. And let's just regress. I saw a team that went out there and let a South Carolina team compete with them. I saw a team, had they not been handed a gift in the fourth quarter, would have their second loss right now. I saw a team that showed no intestinal fortitude at all, if you ask me, in terms of going into South Carolina to play a downtrodden South Carolina team, and you let them work you for the majority of the game. This should have been a game where we asserted our dominance, took that next step that we need to take as we make our playoff run. But we didn't do that. We still found a way to win the game at the end of the game. Yes, thanks to Lawson and Tim just happened to be laying on the ball. He looked like a fat kid laying on a Cheeto in his bed. He didn't know he had it. He found it. It's like, oh, food. But
damn.
That's what it looked like. You know, it's like the ball is under there. He didn't even realize the ball is there. It's like, Tim, the ball is underneath you, okay? Just, you don't feel that. It's a round object. Like, come on, I love you, Tim, but you had to feel the ball there. But, outside of that, I saw a team that didn't do what we expected them to do because we expected them to go to South Carolina and take that next step. But instead, I feel like we took 2 steps backwards.
Jesse, do you feel like we took 2 steps backwards, or maybe we just hit a wall after a long streak of dominance? I mean, we've played arguably our best football You got to think at some point you just hit a wall. You run out.
No, you don't hit walls, Justin. You get better week over week. That's what championship caliber teams do.
But Marvin, look, and I said it on the post game show. You go back to the Bama teams all the way back to '92 that won titles. They won games against Southern Miss 17-10. That Arkansas game on the road that year under Saban, where Landon Collins got the pick to seal it, was 13-12 or something ugly. Bama was favored 17 that day. I don't know, man, Marvin. I'm gonna push back a little bit. I know they didn't play well. They didn't play as on the trajectory that they were, but they didn't play their best game and still found a way to win. That does that not build something like?
Okay, Petty, I hear your point, but here's this point. You look at the opening loss against Florida State. So you look at the way we played these close games throughout the season. You're talking about teams that were dominant teams that just had letdowns, periodically throughout the season. A game, a one-off here. This team has not asserted its dominance yet to be taking steps back. We need to be going this way, not this way. The teams you're talking about asserted their dominance early and often, and there was no questions about their dominance. This team, there's still a lot of questions here. And with the stretch that we have coming up, this isn't the time to be taking steps backwards.
All right, Jesse, where do you stand, brother?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both for me. I definitely think, we didn't show up. It was stressful to watch, even with my own heart. It was pushing me to limits watching, but I think that's like the downside. I think especially with like this generation of football, I think there's so much more risk of guys getting caught up in, especially those bigger wins like Tennessee and stuff like that. Was like, it's hard for these guys to, I guess, start fresh and get ready for next week without a little bit of that like rat poison kind of creeping in, of like, we've had some big wins and they kind of might expect that it's supposed to get on that same trajectory from then on, instead of you having to show up every day and prove that. I think a lot of props to them for actually, pulling their shit together and actually getting the win, and, in a very ugly fashion. But I think the biggest worry for me, even when I was there in person watching them win, was like how I can understand how you handle adversity and you want to push back and get after. But I think what's even tougher, especially with like social media and like a lot of these younger kids, is how do they handle when they're actually winning and they're on a roll, and like, can you keep that fire going? Or like you see in games like this where it's like, maybe not, doing backflips backwards, but it's definitely deviating a little bit and not playing like the football they have been playing. And I don't think, like you guys said, I don't think it's the team. I think it's just like that mentality of like, every game is so different. We have to attack every week. Almost forgetting the wins we've had and working from there, because I don't know, some of these young kids, a couple of wins can get to the head pretty quick,
Absolutely. All right. Anything else, fellas? Marvin, I think you're on mute or something is not coming through. Pettey, did you cut his feed?
I think
Can you translate for
him? Got him.
Sandstorm got him.
Sandstorm got him.
You know the thing about
there
it,
he
this
is.
is what a lot of people don't understand. Stupid Xfinity Wi-Fi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Apparently, it's having to go to Australia, back to you, and then back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Stupid Xfinity Wi-Fi, man. That's what it is. So I'm gonna need it because it ain't working too hot right now.
So we're gonna strike that off of the
I'm trying to make
sponsor
a
list.
point, but
Well, and I get what you're saying, Marvin.
Can you hear me?
I want, maybe Jesse can step on this a little further, but I feel like Alabama. I mean, you beat Georgia at Georgia, you beat Tennessee 4 weeks in a row, you win at Missouri, you beat the America's darling Vanderbilt. I don't know, man. Again, I know where your mindset comes from, Marvin, and that's right. Actually what you want as a fan, as a football player. We don't accept that play, but I do think there's some things to take from those types of wins too. But are you back with us? The 56K coming through? It's like one of those old Asian movies, those kung fu movies.
That's what it is.
Tackle. Fast. Marvin, like an old kung fu movie.
Really? It's
Just keep going, Marvin.
I got you covered. Don't worry. I know. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Well, while he tries to work that out, I just think that every team has that one game per year that they go up against a team that they really should run out of the building almost immediately, and things just don't go right. That team is playing like they're in a Super Bowl because that team, Alabama, is their Super Bowl. So they're going to come hot and ready. And sometimes you just got to survive that game. And it takes a little bit of luck, too. Like you saw, it took a pick six. A pick six was the difference in the game. It took Dante Lawson stripping the ball at the very end to give us that last possession where Jeremy Bernard ultimately scored the game winner. I think this is one of those character building games that will serve us later as we face LSU. And I still think they're dangerous, by the way, and as we face Oklahoma. And then go to the Plains and at that weird place they call the Indian burial ground that is Auburn. So as Marvin tries to figure things out, what I'd like to do now is we're in the off week. Give us a chance to kind of assess where Alabama is as a whole up to this point. Where are we, guys? Jesse, you've had an opportunity not only to watch on TV, but you were down there mixing up with them, talking with them on the sideline, just really absorbing all of it.
Can you hear me?
Where are we as a team right now in your eyes? And then we'll go to Pettey, and hopefully by that time, Marvin will pay for his own internet and it'll work the way he needs it to.
Yeah, I think everything for me, I got to spend a lot of time with guys, Caden Proctor. I spoke with Coach DeBoer. I spoke with a lot of coaches and got a feel for, what the vibe is. Like a lot of my friends are still coaches there. And I think for me, it was a lot better than it was like the previous years. Coach's first year and all that, I think was a little scary going into the facility because everyone was just like running around like they didn't know what the hell was up and what was down. But I think now there's a lot more structure, there's a lot more discipline in the decision making on and off the field, like even with the strength stuff and those guys. So I think that played for me a really big role, and I felt way more comfortable seeing that type of stuff leading into the game more so than just like even when I was at practice, everything was just a bit tighter. And I think the team is a lot more bought in, especially the leaders on the team, the older players, and I think that's kind of a lot more visible to me, even when watching the games. It seems a bit more controlled football as best as you could put it, at least, with their emotions and how they're playing and playing together and playing for each other, which I think is really important. I think they're on a good path. Like I've always said, even when I was there, I said this November, like October, November spread is going to be, this is like the trenches. This is where you figure out what type of team you're going to be and what you're going to be remembered for is in these couple of months right here. And I think we're off to a great start, with these tougher games. And I think the next part is, kind of the scariest part is like, how well can you, start strong and finish stronger when it comes to the season. I think we have the guys that can do it for sure. And I think a battle, with a lot of it, and like with football in general, is like, kind of college is kind of getting like the NFL, right? Like everyone's good. It's like who can execute and who's healthy every week. And I think those are going to be two really big factors of like, can we get our guys healthy and, all the way to the playoffs, and can we just keep executing? Because I think we got the firepower to do, kind of whatever we want to do. It's just like, we got to get the guys to show up every day, which is tough.
Who's impressed you the most on that defensive line?
I think all of them. I think a lot of them. Obviously, Tim, it's such a different structure, like even like the size of the guys and how they move around, watch them at practice. Like there's some freaks out there. But I think, the older guys have been really good because you get a lot of the newer guys coming in now. And with the portal and other things like that, like you just never know. You're not getting guys, and you get to have guys spend time together like 1 to 3 years before they can play or make a difference. So I think the leaders in that group, like Tim and the older guys, are doing a really good job keeping them all together. And I think the same. Like I'm close with Proctor. I spent a lot of time with him when I was there and just chopping it up and seeing, I guess, different perspectives, like from a player, especially compared to like when I was playing, which is very different from the player's side now. And I think the NIL, all this outside noise, everything is only damaging if you don't have the right men inside. And I think we got a lot of really good guys and good leaders. And like even with Ty and everything sort of falling in a really good situation, I think they're getting a pretty good grip on it and trying to lead the right way. I think playing for each other, and I think the whole like everyone's just playing to play in the NFL or get money, all that, I think that's hard to not buy into. But I think our guys at the moment are really trying to buy into playing for each other and playing to win, which I think ultimately is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Pettey, picking up after Jesse, where are we as a team right now? If you had to make a hard decision right now, what would you say, I guess, would be the ceiling for this team?
Great. I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm kind of going to piggyback off of Jesse's NFL analogy, but go in a different direction, right? Because we're in that playoff portion of the season. Right out of the gate, you lose all margin for error when you lose to Florida State. You're like, holy crap. Now, 10 wins is what we saw last year. It's only a 1-year sample size, but 10 wins is what we saw we needed to get in. You lose to Florida State, and you're like, oh, shit. You look at that schedule, and you're expecting maybe a few more. But then you start making some up. You beat Georgia on the road. That widens the gap. That people might have thought after Florida State that was going to be a loss. Then you beat Tennessee. And like I said, you beat Vanderbilt. It's now a super quality win. You beat Missouri on the road. Now you're going into the second half of the season, setting yourself up on the playoff run, right? You're trying to be a top 4 seed, maybe go to the SEC, get the bye, get home field advantage. And now your margin for error, which was once really small after week 1, is really huge with a lot of winnable games. Look, Oklahoma's got a good defense, but that's a broken team that's going to be coming to Tuscaloosa more than likely. They're about to go down their own murderer's row. LSU, the turmoil down there. I don't, you got an interim coach, and I get he's homegrown. Frank Wilson, Coach Joe McKnight, coached Reggie Bush down there in New Orleans. He will get all those players playing for the 3 letters of the purple and gold, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. They still don't have an offensive line. They're coming to Tuscaloosa, and it's just a program in shambles right now. And then you get Auburn, who's going to be fighting for everything. Like you said, Indian burial ground always gets weird down there. But the way I look at it is, man, we're going in this back half of the season really setting up for a playoff run and maybe getting some playoff games in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for the first time, which is going to be pretty sweet. That's the ceiling. And I don't think that's one that we're having to drink the magic bubbles at Willy Wonka to float to. I think we're pretty close to it, and it's very attainable.
Love how you worked a Willy Wonka reference into that.
Anytime I can talk about Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory in a place I still want to go at some point in my life, I will.
And Marvin, one thing I'd like you to address, Jeff Merriman brings it up before you talk about the other things you've seen. Talking about the run game, the reality is virtually non-existent. So my question is to you, how sustainable is to continue to throw this on Ty's shoulder if we plan on getting to the playoffs and having a run? And just how important is it for this staff to make getting this run game going a priority? And then what else you've seen, feel free to add after that. Well, dramatic pause, folks.
And it has got Marvin tonight. I don't know what's going on.
It does.
He doesn't have that issue.
Well, Jesse and Pettey, I'll let y'all answer this. Just how sustainable is it for Alabama to continue just to rely 100% on Ty in order to get us to that next level, which is the playoffs and possibly a title run? Is it something we can actually count on, or do we really need to become balanced? So, what you got, Jesse, and then Pettey?
I think for me, like, do I think we can like get it done with that? Maybe a small percentage, yes, I think, but for us to be more confident and I think keep the structure of, the winning and the type of football we want to play at Alabama, I think we got to get the run going at some point. You know what I mean? Like what's crazy is we have such a crazy offensive line. I'm like, man, we might as well just give Caden the ball half the time if we're going to set the run up, and it's like, I think for me, I always envision Alabama football like kind of we're running down your throat, and we might pass if we need to, but like we're gonna set up the run first, and the physicality of that in a football, and that's what will allow more things to open up for Ty if we do need to rely a bit more heavily on that. But I think we're definitely in a good spot, and he's doing great. But obviously, it's a lot of pressure on him to continue to make these plays. And I think for us, it's just smart football. We got to push the run and get more physical with the guys we got up front.
Absolutely, Pettey. It's amazing what Ty's been able to do, given that he's had no running game to take the pressure off of him. But is it sustainable?
I think Jesse nailed it. Maybe it's sustainable through the end of the SEC run. I'm not sure it's sustainable through a playoff run when you're getting these Big Ten teams that are going to be somewhat fresh coming into it, where as opposed to the grind that we've been through as an SEC program. So no, at some point, yeah, I agree, man. You got to get the run game going better, and I think there's signs of it, man. I want to see, Daniel Hill, give him the ball more, man. That guy has that low center of gravity, that balance, those big legs that just look like Bama running back legs. And you can't. Ty Shoney can do it, and when Ty's on, he's as good as anybody in college football behind center. But yeah, all great quarterbacks, the greatest of all time. Well, to me, I know there's arguments past that, and I'm dating myself, was John Elway before he retired. And it took a great running game for him to do it. So, yeah, to do it all, you got to, it took Terrell Davis for that guy. So, yeah, it's a big part of going all the way when you're playing complete teams, when you're getting to the best of the best in the playoffs.
All right, we're going to hope for the best. Marvin.
Well, I'm back. I had to enable my mobile hotspot. Can you hear me?
He's stealing from Buc-ee's.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
you're good.
Connect to Starbucks or something nearby.
He banged on his neighbor's wall. Hey, what's your password?
No,
Marvin, quick. What are you mid-season review? What are you seeing? What is the ceiling? Talk to us.
I had to pull out my mobile ceiling. We're so far below where we could be at this point. Again, we went to South Carolina with the opportunity to take a step in the right direction to be the team we need to become. Because Jesse will tell you this. For me, football has always been two things. It comes down to two things. Timing and trust. That's all you need in football. Work on your timing, and you got to trust the people you're on the field with. Meaning, if I know we're running the ball, I need to trust that my outside backer is going to be where he's supposed to be. I got to trust that my corner is going to be where he's supposed to be. They're supposed to be there. And it's the same for offense. A quarterback throws the ball to a spot, trusting that his receiver will be there at the right time. Timing and trust are the two things that drive the game of football. And right now, we suck at both. I'm sorry. We suck at both. We are a mediocre team that got lucky. Okay, because here's the thing. Had Georgia came out and ran the ball, we would have took that L. Had South Carolina not made a few stupid mistakes and their coach actually had a backbone, we would have took that L. Now, did we beat Vandy? Yes, we showed up for that game. Missouri, we struggled as well that game. That was another. But at no point this season have we just come out and physically asserted our dominance from the first whistle to the last. That's called playing a complete game. We have failed to play a complete game this season. It has not happened. Okay? So, again, you want to be a playoff caliber team, you have to play complete games. You want to be a championship level team, you have to play complete games. And we don't. So to me, if you're asking me for my mid-season opinion, it's we have a lot of work to do to get to where we need to be. Because if you ask me, the two most difficult games of the season we haven't played yet, and they're coming.
You're absolutely right. And for anyone who's thinking that LSU just going to wilt next week when they come in, you are sadly wrong. Honestly, I think they're going to play their best game of the season because, Petty, that team didn't want to win for Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly is gone. This team's going to be motivated. Hey, it's still a rivalry game, even though they're not on the schedule next year. Fully expect a great game from LSU and, of course, Oklahoma, which there's a lot of matchups that don't really work in our favor, so it's going to be tough. We'll get to that as those games come. But now we got to talk about one of our sponsors. Listen, the Tigers are coming to Tuscaloosa next week at 6:30 p.m. Central at Bryant-Denny Stadium. What do you need in order to get the Tide to the win column? The title towel. As you see that Petty is hanging up, go to www.whitwellsports.com today. Enter the promo code STANDARD. Get a nice discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard Network. That's right, folks. Get ready for LSU and the rest of the season by having your own title towel. All right, Jess, I know we only have you for a few more minutes. So one of the most important things I want to get to right now, of course, we've talked over the past several weeks about your health, and fans have been concerned. They've been asking me questions, and we've tried to follow as many updates as we're getting. How are you, brother? What's the latest? What are doctors telling you? Are you on the upward swing? What you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still alive, which is good.
That's a plus.
It's a good start for me. Yeah, so obviously, depending on where you saw the news, I think, obviously I had a heart attack about 10, 11 weeks ago. Actually, while I was driving on the highway, after I was sort of hiking in the mountains, and was in hospital. You got out, was fine, and I think from there I've just been dealing with some pretty significant heart failure issues. Which I got meds and a bunch of them I've been taking. I'm trying not to be hooked on them, but I think for me, I was coming over to the U.S. to do some work stuff for football, but also, talk to the trainers and try and get a better perspective on that. And, right now it's, not super positive. I have no positive news currently getting fed back to me at the moment, but, it's something I'm just, trying to stay on top of. Obviously I've had my pretty good fair share of run-ins with my body, not liking the way I live my life, essentially. But I think, for me, my attitude, in my disciplines, I've been training and doing everything still and trying to look after myself the best I can. But, the rest I think is probably not going to be up to me, and I'm still attacking it as best I can. But, I'm getting some rescans up here the next couple of weeks to see how my heart's doing. And I'm just trying to do the best to, not die in my sleep, would be good. So I think for me, it's just a bit of an uphill battle at the moment with that. It's actually my 35th birthday this Sunday. So
Oh, wow.
I feel 105 going through all this sort of stuff. But, with me, my mind and, my heart is still very strong. And, I tell the doctors a lot, I haven't been a pussy yet, and I'm probably not going to start today. So I think that's kind of the attitude I've had, and I'll continue to have. And I'm not going to get slowed down. And I'm pretty tough to kill, as I'm slowly finding out as I get old. And I'll just keep pushing until my time comes.
Well, let me
Great
ask
stuff.
you this. I've always said fans don't understand the true price of their entertainment. They don't understand what that price tag really is. They think it's that 75 to $100 that they spend on that admission ticket. No, the price is so much greater than that. And I want to ask you something. I know it weighs on you to know what you've been through, and the fact that you don't know what the future holds. Every day that has to be extremely stressful, because again, that unknown. I went in for this surgery on my arm, and I actually aspirated on the table went in for same day surgery, woke up the next day and I see you on a breathing machine. And I was told that day that, every time you have surgery after that, it's a higher probability that this will happen to you because it happened before. So now that's one of the reasons why I hate going to surgery, because I don't know if I'm going to return from it. So how does it affect you on a day to day, knowing that, man, like this might, because I ain't gonna lie, like every time I go before surgery, I tell everybody in my family I love them, and I make sure everything on my end is in order because I don't know if I'm coming back.
Yeah, I think I guess with my pretty rough upbringing and like my life, I feel like I've kind of lived like that for such a long time. Even when I had cancer the first time, I never really had that epiphany of like, oh man, I need to be, grateful. I need to like maximize my life. I was already doing that. For me, it just like reaffirmed how I am. And I think, with kids and all that type of stuff now, I think for me is just like making the most of the time. And like, to be honest, it is stressful, the uncertainty, but the uncertainty, like, kind of on the other end of that stick takes a lot of stress away, because I don't really stress about a lot of like little things, because I'm like, am I going to be stressed about someone cutting me off? I might die tonight. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not too stressed. Like I'm not really in a rush to do anything or be anywhere. Like I'll just take my time. And I think that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of it, and putting my energy into the right things, the things that I'm serving, or the things or the people that I can help is still really important to me. I've never, I guess, really slowed down enough to think about, my effectiveness on earth. And I think it's situations like this where, I don't want to stop. I just probably want to like make the most of it a little bit more when I do go through these situations. And that situation for me in my life is like been very contrasting, from like the highest highs of, having kids, winning Super Bowls, national championships, to like the lowest lows, like the amount of times I cross path with my, untimely end, would probably knock the fucking socks off most normal people, but it seems to be like a normal Tuesday for me, So I think, it's a lot of contrast and a lot of different feelings. And I tell people, obviously I tell them about the highest highs and the lowest lows, and it only really teaches me one thing, is that I got great range, and that the space I have between the highest highs and the lowest lows, I get to do so much, and I get to be really effective with my experience. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to do, because as much as people try and grip to certainty, to be honest, like I could drive home today, not even have a heart attack. I'll probably just get hit by a car. You know what I mean? Like nothing is guaranteed anyway. And I think that's kind of the way it sort of got me living, and, trying to appreciate and enjoy things more without, I guess, the worry of, what everything's going to be in long-term standards,
Well, I will say this, man, just try to live your life to the fullest. Enjoy every day. Try not to live in fear. Don Parker had a comment. He said, you're only afraid of death if you're not living right. That ain't true, because I can tell you right now, this shoulder is killing me and I need to get it fixed, and Dr. Kane wants me to get it fixed. But that fear of, I know that there's a probability after having to be resuscitated once from surgery that it may have to happen again. And I ain't trying to do that every opportunity I can. So I'm very particular about it. So I say to you, man, just be mindful of the days that you have, man, and try to make the most of them, and not let that fear cripple you. Because I ain't gonna lie, I should have got this shoulder fixed a while ago, but just thinking about the possibilities, that's what makes me not want to do it.
Yeah, I think the big thing, like I kind of been lucky in my life that, without trying to be like the world's toughest man, like I ain't really been scared of a lot of shit in my life. I feel like I've been through so much, it's coming like a bit of a novelty. When I tell people I had a heart attack, people are like, oh my God, fuck, is there anything else you want to overcome to prove you're fucking so tough or whatever? And I think for me, it's, it is something that, when I played football, I knew what the price was. And I talk to my wife, I talk to people all the time. I'm happy to pay that price 10 times over. I did all the things I said I was going to do. And I think for me right now, and I posted it on social media the other day, is like, I'm not worried about living a longer life. I'm worried about living a better life right now. And I think that's kind of the outlook for me. Like, I'm not trying to live to 80. If I get to live to 40 and it's great, then that's what I'm going to shoot for. I'm not trying to squeeze the sour parts out of this. I'm trying to make the most of whatever little bits I got left.
All right, Pettey, you're up, sir.
Look, and you say, I know, look, that's what, as we get older, I'm in my mid 40s, and the doctors are telling me, man, I'm like, well, what can I do? Well, like, man, this is 40 years of you doing stuff that's catching up now. Have they told you there's anything? I know you say you could go to bed tonight, not wake up. I get that aspect, but are there things that they're telling you can do to maybe, start getting preventative helpful?
Not so. The crazy thing is, like, when I had the heart attack, like, I don't have high blood pressure, I don't have high cholesterol, I don't have sleep apnea, I don't have any blockages. They went to check to put stents in. I didn't need any stents, so they didn't know what was really like causing the heart attack. And I was like, oh, I thought it was like my kidney or stress or something, but they just still haven't really figured it out. So I'll find out more in my next couple of scans. But I think the one thing that's kind of kept me alive, I think, is obviously, like, I still train every morning at 4 a.m. I still, walk. I still do like jujitsu. I still do all these different things. I think, when I stopped playing, I never stopped. So my biggest worry is if I have to stop, it's going to kill me either way. So I think my only preventative measure right now is just keep going. Like, I've lost, I think in the past 12 weeks, I lost 50 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So I'm way lighter and moving around. And, like, obviously just, I walk about, I don't know what it'd be in miles. I probably walk about like 80 or 90 miles a week. I do jujitsu. I lift weights every day, still doing everything. And then, like, I don't drink or smoke or anything like that. I never have. So I've kind of eliminated everything that would be a risk that I know of. And I think that's sort of the best outlook looking forward is, once I get these next scans, and because the issue is, like, it's not the heart attack, the issue. The heart attack, I'm kind of over and I'm back to normal. The issue is my heart function is at 30%. So, my heart's not pumping enough blood. So I was like going through a couple of days of, like, if I bent over to pick something off the ground, I would just pass out because I wasn't getting enough blood to my brain. So I've had to, like, tweak a few things in regards to that. So that's the biggest thing is, like, if I just keep getting my heart function up, then, fingers crossed we can get to a positive outcome. But, until then, it's just like, I just got to keep holding the line and keep showing up every day. And, the good part of that is that's all I fucking know how to do. And that's all I've done for, most of my life. So I'm not too stressed about it, to be honest. I try not to think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not good at feeling sorry for myself. So I think that being me kind of keeps me in a good position and not stressing about it and just showing up and doing the work.
We have no doubt you're doing that. Well, hey, man, I know we only had you for about 40 minutes. We've reached that time. I wish we had more time with you. Before you go, if you wouldn't mind, tell the folks how they can keep up with you on social media. And then I guess what's next for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I still obviously got my same socials, like at the Monstar, on everything. I'm pretty transparent, to be honest. I put a lot of stuff about my health, like, on there. I don't need any sympathy or some anything like that. It's more just to, like, get other people to look after themselves and stop giving up. But I think what's next for me, like, I'm still, my business in Australia, we pretty much prepare, recruit, and get most of the kids from Australia and New Zealand into college and high school and JUCO and stuff now. And we're about to sign up the next couple of hundred kids here in the next few weeks. So for me, that's kind of where the passion project is, and getting kids in the same system that changed my life so drastically within college and football and the educational part of that. And we've had pretty good success over the past couple of years. Obviously, I was just in the U.S. at a bunch of schools, some big Division I's at schools we've placed, schools that want to get bigger kids. Like, we got sort of bigs everywhere. And I think that's going to be a really big thing. And I'm going to be, trying to post a bit more and trying to at least tell the story to Americans of, the kind of talent we have out here and the opportunities, especially for coaches. Obviously, most of the guys I know seem to be playing or coaching. So we're trying to get more of those kids over there into the system, trying to get a couple to Bama, see if we can scrape through and get Courtney and those guys to pull the trigger on some bigs. But, until then, we're gonna keep pushing that. Trying to help as many young men as we can get over and change their life, like I was lucky enough to change my life. And then, look after my health, spend time with my wife and kids, keep trying to stay alive day by day. That's kind of the big thing at the moment. And, just enjoy my time. I'm not really worried or scared of anything. I know if I wake up and work, if anyone that knows me, that's the way I'd rather go than sit at home feeling sorry for myself. So I'm gonna keep doing that and showing up. And, hopefully in the spring, I'm gonna try and get another trip over to Alabama. If I can get my health right in the next 3 or 4 months, I'm gonna try and get over there again, and catch up with everyone in person. So that's sort of the next steps for me, trying to stay out of trouble and do the usual things and help and serve as many people as I can along the way and leave somewhat of a positive impact on this world by the time I get out of here.
And you're definitely doing that. Marvin, Pettey, any final words for Jesse before he leaves?
Man, I just tell you, take care of yourself, man. Enjoy every day, man, and rely on your teammates, man. Talk to them dudes, because it's a lot of those guys that need to take care of themselves as well and not doing it. Like I know, a lot of guys, when they finish playing football, they just stop working out. DBs look like offensive linemen 5 years later, and it's like, sir, what happened? So, there's so many of those guys who need to take care of themselves, and they don't, man. So I would say, if anything, man, just, stay on them and use your story as a means of motivating them and a bunch of other people that might not have played with you, but around that time frame, man, because taking care of yourself, that's a real thing, man, because you start talking the physical aspects as well as the mental aspects. It all ties back together, man. And I know myself personally, man, I'm not that much older than you. I didn't play even 10 years more than you, but I've buried 4 of my teammates already. So use it as an opportunity, man, to keep those guys motivated, because I know we all felt like we were superheroes at one point in life, but we're all human at the end of the day.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Jesse, man, just sharing the stage with you is pretty humbling. I appreciate your time as always. You said something, and man, I think I don't know how many listen, and just you being on here, I'm like, if it resonates with anybody, and I think it's something Saban taught that obviously came through, is not feeling sorry for yourself. Life is what you make it, man. We're not all dealt good hands. And someone said it, you realize a lot of times, man, we all got shit in our life, but someone may have it worse. And then you have someone that's dealing with the stuff you're coming on here, Jesse, and the way you're taking it like a lion. If any of these kids from Australia that you're trying to get over here have your heart, we know there's some freaking lions coming over from Australia. But look, man, it's just like I said, the whole don't feel sorry for yourself really hit, because, man, life is tough at times for everybody, but it is what you make it. We get one shot. Don't waste a day. Don't waste a minute. Don't waste an hour. You don't know how many you got. And, man, you're one of the more inspirational dudes. We've had a bunch on here, but good God, man, we're praying for you, buddy. And I appreciate to share the stage with you. Just wanted to say that, round, man. You hit deep, buddy, and know that there's prayers coming from all over Bama Nation, and definitely the Pettey household for you, buddy.
Yeah.
No doubt. Appreciate that.
Yeah, same here, brother. Hey, thank you so much for sharing the stage with us again. We are very grateful every time you have an opportunity to swing by. Don't be a stranger. And if you're able to make it over in the spring, we'll make it a point this time to be over there the same time that you are, and we'll have some fun, brother. But until then, roll tide, Jesse.
Yes, sir. Roll tide. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the spring.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
All right, man. See ya. All right, we got to get to the audience questions. We have a few we can get to, and some super chats. So let's go ahead and get to those as our time begins to wind down. Jeff Merriman, facts. Grubb did not run the ball at Washington, and the Seahawks commented he did not run the ball enough. Guess what? Did he win a championship at either stop? No, he didn't. He got to the title game, I actually, Washington had a really good running game that year. They went to the title game with Dylan Johnson. That dude was an absolute dog. He had over 1,200 yards rushing. Guys, what are your thoughts on this in terms of Grubb and the run game?
Well, if we don't get a run game together, we're in trouble because, again, when you're trying to close games out, especially late in the season, you're relying on your 4-minute offense. Your 4-minute offense, you're going to run the ball at a high clip in your 4-minute offense because here's the thing, you want the clock to run. If we're having to run, slants and other, outs and passes to try to move the ball, you get an incomplete pass, the clock stops. The key in a 4-minute offense is to chew up as much clock as possible. So with that, you need to effectively run the ball. The way South Carolina's defensive line annihilated us, we can't run the ball. We can't run the ball.
Well,
I mean, at some point, you are what you are. You are what your numbers say you are, and we're over halfway through the season. So,
but my question too, Marvin, you've preached it for how long? And Pettey, we talked a little bit about it on Saturday. Why are we not running screens when they were coming hard every single snap? Why are we not throwing screens? It's amazing. Late in the game, we started implementing that, and wow, look what happened. The ball started moving in a forward motion, courtesy of Daniel Hill.
Well, I've been saying it all season, man. You got guys pinning their ears back coming because we have linemen that can't block to save their damn lives. So if the linemen can't block them and then we're having to use a running back to chip, that takes away another option in the pass game. So what's the next best option? Run screen passes to make those screaming DNs slow it down and have to actually think before they haul ass up the field. Again, I've been saying it all damn season. I don't know why.
All right, let's go to Keith Holcomb. Do y'all think the light will come on and they play a complete game before the end of the season? How do you want to tackle that?
I don't see us playing a complete game before the end of the season because we can't run the damn ball. And I'm not going to count the game that we played between Oklahoma and Auburn because that game doesn't count to me. Now, if you want to take LSU, Oklahoma, and Auburn and say, are we going to play a complete game? My answer will be no, because we can't run the damn ball.
What about Eastern Illinois?
Well, I said the game between Oklahoma and Auburn doesn't count to me.
Oh, I thought you meant those two didn't count. All right. I don't think – I haven't seen anybody play a complete game. So, no, I don't expect it. I haven't seen a complete game in the. Has there been one in the SEC? I guess the closest has been A&M.
Texas A&M.
But they still gave up what 25, 35 down at, or 25 down in Baton Rouge the other night. There were some leaks when they played Arkansas 2 weeks ago in Fayetteville. It was a 52-49 shootout. So I mean, when they play legit offenses, I'm not sold that they can stop them either. Like I've yet to see a complete game.
I can tell you who has been playing some complete games if you've been watching them. That damn Indiana.
Okay. Well, look, some Big Ten teams, when they play other Big Ten teams that played complete football. Indiana.
But they do what they're supposed to do, though, Pettey. The thing that we don't do. We don't do what we're supposed to do. When Indiana plays UCLA, they kick their damn teeth in because they're supposed to kick their damn teeth in. They go to Oregon and they win because they're supposed to win. We go to South Carolina and we're supposed to kick their damn teeth in, but instead we fighting for our damn life with seconds to go.
I question it. I don't. We'll see against LSU. Get a week off. It's a broken LSU team. This is your chance to put a complete one together.
Let's go to Don Parker. We can't have a successful show without Don Parker. $5 coming our way. And, of course, it's going towards Marvin. Marvin sounds like me tonight. The team hasn't played to the standard for 4 quarters in all 3 phases. It isn't about opponents, but what they do.
That's my whole point. Indiana plays complete games. We just show up and I guess we gonna get whatever they decide to give us that day.
Moving along, and I want to hear from everyone here. Joe Edwards How do you think LSU will play next week since they had coaches getting fired?
It's not an issue of talent in Baton Rouge. I
Not at
think it's
all.
an issue of personalities, and we've seen this time and time again, where a head coach gets fired and the team plays so much better because they rally around the assistant coach. Because usually that assistant coach is the guy who's kept that team in place already anyway, kept a lot of those guys out of the portal, kept a lot of those guys from making hot-headed decisions. So usually that guy is going to be your next head coach, or your interim head coach. So they're going to play harder for that guy. So even if they lose, they're still going to look better because they tend to like that guy much better. Because in a lot of cases, it's a situation where the AD is going to go in, he's going to meet with the leadership council, he's going to talk to those guys, he's going to want to know from them, hey, what are your thoughts on this person? What are your thoughts on that person before making a decision who they're going to put in their interim head coaching role? Because relationships go a long way in that process. Because if you put a guy in that role who they despise more than the guy you just fired, it's even worse situation.
Well,
I think it's pretty hard to despise anyone more than Brian Kelly, right, Pettey? And like you said, Marvin, and I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. It's not a talent problem, Pettey. It's a $20 million roster.
Yeah.
You don't lose with that.
The way they built the roster, and look, Nick Saban said it best. You can pay it, but it's about who you pay, and are you paying the right guys, and do they mesh once they get there? And it's a team that didn't like their coach. You saw Nussmeier, and you can go back Saturday night. Nussmeier and Kelly don't like each other. It wasn't friends on that sideline. But to your point, Marvin, do they like the interim coach? And yes, they do. I was talking about this earlier. I know you're having internet problems, but Frank Wilson is going to be the interim down there. He's a Louisiana guy. He's from New Orleans. He coached Reggie Bush. He coached the other Joe McKnight. He's been coaching in New Orleans. He's the guy they love. But it's almost like when Cadillac took over at Auburn. Yeah, they play harder, but cheerleaders only go so far. They also fired the offensive coordinator. So, I mean, their offensive line is decimated, and they've been getting Nussmeier killed all year. That's why there's so many holes in their offense. And I don't know how much cheerleading fixes an offensive line. And, yes, they will play harder for Frank Wilson. That's what I was saying. Frank Wilson will get them to play for those 3 damn letters that come in smelling like corn dogs with their fan base. But I don't know how far that goes in a game, Marvin. And that's more to you. Like, again, he'll get them. They'll play harder. They'll cheerlead. I don't know what's left in the X's and O's in that team. And there's so many. You've got Whit Weeks, their star linebackers out. You've got their offensive line is just Swiss cheese. I don't know how much it matters.
Well, I'm with you, and that's why I said I'm not saying they're going to win. I just said that they'll play better.
Oh yeah. I think they will. That's why I'm asking how far does that play into the game, though. I'm asking you, like, how long?
They'll definitely play. They'll play harder, but it doesn't mean they're going to win. But you play harder for a guy you actually like than for a guy you despise.
Well, they're going to play harder. They love Frank Wilson. That's who their interim coach is going to be. It's Frank Wilson. So, I mean, and he is very beloved in the state of Louisiana. He's a fixture in that state.
All right. We got the man, Jimmy Clay, $10. Hey, brother, glad to have you in the audience as always. This goes towards Jesse. You the man, number 54. Roll Tide. Love it. And then we got a celebrity in the house, Uncle Charles, the famous Uncle Charles from Birmingham. Glad to have you in here. Roll Tide, y'all. I hadn't seen him in quite some time. Glad he came out and saw us. We got another super chat from the Don Parker. We're still hot on LSU. $5. Do not take LSU lightly. It's LSU. No one gave South Carolina a chance last week, and Bama had to pull off a struggle win. This also will not be easy. Very well said.
Never easy.
No. Sometimes we just like to make things hard. And Dale B coming in strong, $20. Someone is suggesting paying Saban $25 million a year for 4 years to coach at LSU.
They're going to end up with John Summerall.
Well, I can tell you right now, if I'm Coach Saban, why the hell am I going to LSU? Even at $25 million a year, I'm in my 70s. So can I even spend this $100 million that y'all offer me, considering as much money as I already have? Do I have enough time left on earth? Do I really even need this money? Hell no. So that would be a hard no for me. Nobody wants to go to Baton Rouge and coach that damn dumpster fire, that damn much pressure unless it's going to be somebody who's younger, who's hungry, and has a true desire to make a name for themselves and win. That's who you need. These established coaches, most of them they want no parts in what's in Baton Rouge because they understand what comes with that.
Tulane, look no further than New Orleans, Louisiana, and Tulane's John Summerall, and that's exactly who you just described, Marvin Constant.
Yeah. Hey, what about Golish over there at your Bulls?
People are overlooking him. Florida, LSU, everybody's overlooking him and enamored by, the all eyes are in Oxford on Kiffin, and they're overlooking Golish at South Florida. And look, man, I'm telling y'all right now, I get the LSU that everybody's looking at the name. I'm telling y'all this right now. And I told everybody Saturday, Vegas that was the lock of the week. I'm like, Vegas doesn't give away money. Just not how they do it. South Carolina was the play if you just held your nose. Bama will beat LSU by double digits. Promise that. It will be a beatdown.
And by the way, Coach Saban's getting paid a lot more working for ESPN, so I don't think he's going to take the demotion.
He's not leaving. He's not. Terry has spoken.
All right, before we close things out and give our socials, I'll remind everyone, next week, of course, we know LSU week. Well, we're going to have someone from the Tiger side of things. 247 sports writer Glenn West will be with us next Tuesday night at a different time. So y'all listen up. 7 p.m. Central next Tuesday night. We'll be on with Glenn West. LSU coverage coming strong with this guy. We're going to get the right perspective on both sides of the coin. So you don't want to miss that. Again, 7 p.m. Central next Tuesday, and then we'll be back on our regular schedule the following week. Well, we've come to that time. Guys, thank you for your help tonight. Great insight. But now it's time to tell the folks how they can find you once the show does go off. Marvin, start us out, and then we'll go to Pettey.
You can find me on Instagram, Constant45. You can find me on X, Constant451. Not hard to find.
Pettey
_ Daniel, and on this very network, and I'll be on with my boys in the final whistle in an hour talking about it. I think Colombian drug lords. I'm not sure based off the headlines. I'm not sure. You never know. Show up. We could be talking about Pablo Escobar, or we could be talking about Steve Tannehill. Who knows?
The most famous ponytail in college football history.
Marvin, did you tackle Steve Tannehill?
Tannehill was the early 90s, sir.
He was early 90s, wasn't he? 92. He was like as soon as the Cox came in.
So, yeah, you don't age Marvin at all. Don't do that to him.
My bad, Marvin.
Hey, folks, thank you again for tuning in tonight. Had a great time. Special thank you goes out to Jesse Williams for spending time with us. Continue prayers for him. Follow him on his socials. And, hey, thank you for all the great comments and questions and the super chats. We never ask for those, but they're always greatly appreciated. That's going to do it for us. We have the weekend off, but we'll be going strong next week, starting on Monday night with T's Take at 8:15 p.m. Central. Then come over here on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, special time. And always remember to join us for the post-game show. That'll do it for all of us right now at the Bama Standard. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.